Hello, my name is Nicholas Sikorski. I am majoring in international business with a specialization in policy and globalization, and I'm from Dr. Ding's International Relations course. Today I will be presenting on the topic of modern-day American isolationism. I chose the topic because it is very interesting to me. I find it interesting because isolationism in America's history seems to repeat itself. What is isolationism? Isolationism is a national policy of staying away from foreign interests in international affairs. It is the hesitancy of a government to get involved in alliances, enter into treaties, or involve itself in foreign markets. The history of American isolationism. The theme of isolationism is not new for the United States. One of the first times the idea of isolationism was articulated was during George Washington's farewell address in September 1796. During his address, Washington advised Americans to free themselves of any likes or dislikes of foreign nations. He said in his speech, "The nation which indulges toward another in habitual hatred or in habitual fondness is in some degree a slave." The history of American isolationism. The theme of isolationism was also very present in the Monroe Doctrine. In 1832, the United States President James Monroe made clear that the U.S. would be the protectorate of the Western Hemisphere and not allow European powers to colonize any additional territories in the Americas. The Monroe Doctrine basically stated that the United States would not interfere in European affairs, whether they were wars or international politics. American isolationism in World War I. Although isolationism had been a theme held by the United States in the past, it wasn't until World War I that America had its first official period in its history of being isolationist. When the Great War broke out in July of 1914, the United States took an active stand of being neutral. President Woodrow Wilson did not want to become involved, either emotionally or ideologically, in this war. Initially, America held a non-interventionist policy during World War I. They did, however, diplomatically supported the Allied powers, or the Entente, which consisted of France, Great Britain, Italy, Russia, Serbia, Greece, the UK's colonies, and its commonwealths. True to Wilson's commitment to remain neutral, America stayed out of World War I for nearly 3 years. Eventually, in 1917, America joined the war, but this was only after intercepting the Zimmermann telegram where Germany requested Mexico to invade the United States with the promise of Mexico gaining territory. The Great Depression. During the 1930s, the world faced a serious economic depression, with America being particularly affected. At this time, with the losses suffered during World War I remaining fresh in Americans' memories, coupled with the Depression, America became isolationist during this period as well. American isolationism in World War II. Again, at the start of World War II, on September 1st, 1939, America declared neutrality in the war and maintained its position of isolationism. It wasn't until Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in December 1941 that America ended up joining the war. As with World War I, America remained isolated for many years until it was forced to fight. Isolationism dead. America's interventionism during the Cold War years. After the end of the Second World War, the United States and the Soviet Union became superpowers. Both countries started competing viciously with each other for foreign influence. Billions of dollars were spent on their militaries, allied regimes, and space programs. In the end, the United States won the Cold War and became the world's sole superpower. American interventionism remains after the Cold War. After the Cold War, the United States became the sole superpower of the world. Because of this, the US was able to influence other countries with its politics without having to fear any consequence. America expanded NATO, intervened in the Balkans during the Balkan Wars, invaded Iraq, and invaded Afghanistan. The American decline. After decades of interventionism, America eventually started to decline and not only in power, but in many other ways as well in the 2000s to 2010s. This decline was as a result of the various expensive wars in the Middle East, the election of many incompetent leaders in all branches of government, and economic stagnation. The rise of rivaling countries like China and Russia also contributed greatly to its decline. The return of isolationism, Donald Trump's election. In 2016, when Donald Trump was elected President of the United States, he brought with him the idea of staying out of foreign affairs and wanted to focus on strengthening the American economy. His foreign policy was America First. In his America First foreign policy speech, he stated, "My foreign policy will always put the interests of American people and American security above all else." During his years as president, Donald Trump did many things which put America first. He dropped the US out of the Paris Accords, he reduced taxes on all classes, he worked to secure America's borders and planned the withdrawal of troops out of Afghanistan. He also renegotiated NAFTA and implemented the USMCA, or the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement. This was a mutually beneficial win for all of North America's workers, farmers, ranchers, and businesses. America's third wave of isolationism. Is America still isolating today? Although there is no longer an America First foreign policy in place, the wave of isolationism seems to continue, at least in the beliefs of the American people. More and more Americans are of the mindset that we should not intervene in any sort of foreign conflict. Many Americans also believe that we should focus on our economy and stop sending billions of our dollars to foreign nations. In general, it appears that Americans strongly believe in focusing on the American economy and on the needs of the American people.